The year was 1998. The character of Godzilla had been around for about 44 years, appearing in countless films produced and distributed by the Japanese company Toho. Finally, after all this time, we were about to witness the definitive American version of the reptilian monster. Unfortunately, the film was not only a disappointment, but was so bad it scared Hollywood off from even attempting another Godzilla movie for a good 16 years, until Legendary Pictures decided to try their luck with the franchise. Fast forward to now, 5 movies later, the Legendary MonsterVerse has made billions of dollars at the box office. The question is though, how do each of the installments compare to each other, and are they going in the right direction? Hey everyone, I'm the guy with no name. Thanks for stopping by. Just a reminder, if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers as quickly as possible and just keeping this channel growing. Also, if you have not seen any of my ranking videos before, or even if you have, just a reminder that this is going to be based on my enjoyment of the films, not necessarily on how great of films that I think they are. But yeah, let's get into ranking the MonsterVerse from worst to best. Number 5, Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. The most recent installment. Much of the good and bad things I have to say about this is similar to Godzilla vs. Kong. Just for this film, the negatives are worse and the positives aren't as good. I appreciated the continued characterization of Kong, and while I felt it wasn't as well executed as it could have been, I did appreciate the idea as well that Kong wasn't the last great ape, and that the leader of those apes ended up being the main villain. I also enjoyed just about everything with Godzilla, though he wasn't the focus this time around. The overall tone and story, especially the human plot line, was very messy and dumb. Overall, I wish they had put more effort into it, but we did get what we ultimately came for. Number 4, Kong Skull Island. This film isn't bad, and I do agree that it was necessary to devote an entire film to the introduction of Kong to the MonsterVerse. But I feel like, as the second movie in the franchise, it was a big step down in quality and a big contrast in tone to its predecessor, Godzilla 2014. Kong is great in this, but aside from Samuel L. Jackson, all the characters are very dull. Also, I know it's random, but I still don't quite get why John C. Reilly is in it. Weird casting to me. 3. Godzilla vs. Kong. I have to admit I flip-flopped the second and third spot a lot, but ultimately had to place this one as number 3 due to just how bad the humans are in this, as well as some really dumb plot points, including a solution to a problem involving spilling coffee on a computer. The action between the two kaiju is incredible though. Overall, I felt both Godzilla and Kong each had their moments to shine, and I left the theater satisfied. Number 2, Godzilla King of the Monsters. I must confess that the trailer for this movie remains one of the best trailers I've ever seen. I had high hopes, and it did fall short. This sequel was noticeably more comic booky than the original, and once again, the humans were the weakest part. However, I will 100% defend this movie because of its insanely awesome monster fights, particularly the ones between Godzilla and King Ghidorah. The film also looks incredible, and there are many shots in it that I wish could be paintings I could hang up in my game room. Also, I can't neglect to mention its incredible score by Bear McCreary, with numerous nostalgic callbacks to the original Godzilla theme. It does have its flaws, but by the end of the movie, it had me convinced that Godzilla is in fact the king of the monsters. And finally, my number 1 movie of the MonsterVerse, and ironically the first movie of the MonsterVerse, Godzilla 2014. I don't know if it's just comments I personally have seen over the years, but it seems to me like this movie doesn't get the credit it deserves and sort of gets a bad rap for whatever reason. Yes, Godzilla is not in the movie as much as we all would have liked, and yes, Bryan Cranston's character was not as big of a focus as we were led to believe from the trailers, and yes, his son isn't near as interesting as him. But I would argue that Godzilla's presence, while not always shown, is felt throughout the whole film. The tone is very much what I personally had wanted from a Godzilla movie for so long. It actually takes itself seriously, and there are some incredible scenes, Whether it be the Godzilla Muto fight in San Francisco, which is still in my opinion one of the best Godzilla fights ever, or the Bryan Cranston nuclear reactor scene. I'll just leave it at that. Seriously though, that one scene alone shows just how much better the human storyline was in this one. It's like comparing Shakespeare to Madam Web. Oh, and most importantly of all, Godzilla's roar and atomic breath have never been cooler. So what's your list of your rankings of the MonsterVerse movies? I'd love to see where we agree and where we differ, and maybe even have some polite discourse about it all. If you haven't yet, please check out my more in-depth but still spoiler-free review of Godzilla X Kong. And yeah, be on the lookout for more videos coming your way. Thank you for watching. This is the guy with no name, signing off.